Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I hope that you had a really good holiday and that everything has been blessed. This is Camille Essick. I'm host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and critics connect. What I need you to do right now is hit that notification bell and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook at the Speaker Podcast, on YouTube at Camille Essick Official. Y'all, I'm also on Instagram at Camille.Essick. And guess what? My website is up and available at CamilleEssick.com. And I would love to hear from you. You can send me an email at thespeakerpodcast@gmail.com. So excited about everything. I think we got a little bit of feedback. But I want to thank you all just for rocking with me and supporting me just because I cannot be here without you. And I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you so much. Now, tonight's episode is a little special. Now, I love my guests. I do. I love all of my guests. But when I say this one right here is special to me in my heart for so many reasons and literally like family to me, just a little background. We've known each other. Well, I was 7 years old. She was 10 and walking home together from elementary school in the morning breakfast with the little sausages and biscuit in aluminum foil. If you know, you know, just really looked out, was really like big cousin growing up and grew up together in church, just all of the things. And so that's why I'm so like you can't see, but I have my jaws hurt from smiling. But y'all, Brandi Johnson is here. She is a radio personality and event host there in Nashville. She's also a philanthropist. She loves giving. That is the core. And I can say that because I've watched her and her parents. They are givers. That is something that is true to her heart for as long as I've known her. She is a giver. And if you've seen her, she's done like give on your birthday, a lot of things. And if you want to be blessed, give. And she can probably tell you that. She can tell you that. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Brandi Johnson is in the building. Brandi, welcome back.
Oh my God, thank you. That was an amazing introduction.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, Brandi, first of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come back to the show and to sit
Yeah.
down and talk to me. And just for those that are not familiar with who you are, just kind of fill in some gaps about who you are and what you do.
Okay, I think she said it all, but my name is Brandi Johnson. I go by Brandi J. I am a radio personality here in Nashville on 790 AM, 104.9 FM, The Gospel. I am a mother of two adults. I tell people it's different from children. Mother of two adults. I am the youngest of five of Bishop William and First Lady Ruth Johnson. I have a podcast that I just started called A Spill of Fun that comes on every Tuesday night. And like you said, I love to be a blessing. I feel like that is how we most definitely live an abundant life, by being a blessing. I will host any events that you need. So I think that's about it.
That's awesome. So, we haven't chatted in a while. So, first of
Yeah,
all, I just want to catch up and just see like how are you doing? You've gone through some changes since the last time you were here,
I
and
know,
I
girl.
want to kind of get into get into that as far as first of all, since that life change and transition, kind of fill us
Mhm.
all in on what that is and what that's been like for you since then.
The last time I was on the show, I had just got engaged and I was getting married to who now is my ex. So I have been married and divorced since the last time. So that's been about 5 years since I've been on here. So just that let's see, just dealing with that, they texted my phone. I'm sorry, they threw me off. Yeah, so that was about 5 years ago in all since I was on there. So from that, I went from being single to being married to being single again. And now where I'm at now, it has been a blessing. It was the best thing for me to be where I am at now. So that would be how I would describe that.
Okay, so going through that, because I really want to unpack this a little bit more
Okay.
because we hear so many tales or narratives about divorce, and it's not always from a healthy perspective.
Hmm.
So I really feel like you will be a good person to have this conversation with as far as going through that phase and what
Hmm.
did life look like when it was done? Like, how did you pivot out of that and say, huh, Okay, now what?
You know what? Therapy. I went to therapy, and I normally have women therapists.
Mhm.
And so this time I was like, you know what? I want to try something different. So I found an older Black gentleman who was more of like a father figure.
Okay.
And like you said, he unpacked things. He was like, a lot of times we make these decisions because a lot of times about environment. So he wanted to know, what is your relationship like with your dad? And
Mm.
you know, I'm thinking like, honey, my relationship with my daddy is
Daddy's
all
girl.
that. He
Daddy's
is my
girl.
superhero. I am a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
But what when we dived into that, it was such an eye opener. One thing I remember with my dad, I would travel. Back then, we rode Greyhound buses, and he would go preaching to Michigan and Cincinnati. And I would always ride the buses with him, and I would just see how he was kind to all people. And
Mhm.
once we got to diving in that, my therapist said, you know what? You took what you seen your dad. He had a special gift for broken people,
Mm.
for people who might not have been, you know, on a certain level, and he poured into them, and he helped them, and he nourished them, and he blessed them. And then, you know, they go to church, or they might leave the church. And he said, you have taken that, what you saw your dad, into your personal life.
Mm.
So it wasn't that you find you, it wasn't that it's a fixer, but um,
Nurturing. You're
yeah, it was
nurturer, yeah.
nurturing. And I always just felt like, okay, if we do this and we do that, then we can do this and we can do that. And all of that did happen. But I was kind of more so like taking over the lead of the vision,
Mhm.
which was out of order in the first place. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So you're
So
saying you probably didn't leave room for him to kinda lead in the relationship?
yeah, or maybe they didn't have it in, he didn't have it in him to. I'll
Okay.
say. Um, when you come from such a strong family like I come from, and my dad is such a he's a true alpha male. You know, some men feel like,
Yeah.
oh, if I make this, I'm an alpha. Now, alpha carries an all type of, you got to be a total
I
package to
know, I
say you
grew up
alpha.
around I know.
Yeah. So,
But I
you
like
know,
but sidebar, I like the way even though your dad is an alpha male, he still allowed room for femininity.
yes, yes, yes.
But
He was
we're
such
not
a
gonna go down that rabbit hole, but I just
yeah.
wanted to point that out.
Yeah. So when I went to therapy and I learned that I could see the best in anyone in any situation,
Mhm.
um, I had to start looking at myself on like, why was I making these choices? Why was I doing the things that I was doing? Why was I willing to do? And
Right.
it really came from me seeing my father being such a help to people who might not have been as unfortunate with him, who had great family. My dad came from a great family. I come from a
Yeah.
great family. So then when you give these people, you're like, oh, I want you to have this, and I want you to experience this because you never experienced this and this. And you can do all of that, but if that's not really what they truly desire, or what they're really ready for,
Mhm.
then you're trying to be God in somebody's life that you can't do.
So what was that reality like for you having that moment and saying, "Oh, man, like, maybe I should have pulled back a little bit more," or just having those aha or those epiphanies? What was that experience like for you?
Because when I left that session, I called like my mom, I called my sister. I was like, oh my God, this and that. And my mom was kind of like, I gotta dissect that. And I was like, girl, it's true what he said.
You sound just like
So
her when you said it.
yeah, I was like, honey, what he said is the truth. But once you get to that point that you're like, you know what? Okay, I've got to make this decision for me. This situation right here is not I like when God says he wants our lives to prosper, you know, health wise, uh
Yeah,
financial wise, but our soul.
yeah,
And I felt like in that situation, my soul was dying. And we know that the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And people always think, oh, kill is when you're in the grave. No, kill is, they can kill, being in the wrong environment can kill your dreams.
mhm,
It can kill your goals. It can kill your peace. It can kill your confidence. He could come and kill so many things, and you're still alive. And then guess what? That destroys you. and it destroys who God created you to be. And so when I went through that, I had to make a decision. I had
Mhm.
to make a decision. Like when I started feeling, when I started knew I wasn't being myself, I didn't even look the same on pictures.
Your
I just
countenance
looked,
had changed?
yes, I looked
Mm,
heavy. I didn't look happy. My family know, they went through with me. I tell people it was not an addiction, but it was a codependency on it. I was like taking Tylenol PM just to sleep, or
mm.
I would go to the doctor and get pain medicine for something just to sleep. I wasn't at peace. And so I had to do what was best for me to be where I'm at today.
You just unpacked so much, Brandy, and thank you, first of all, for sharing your journey with me and just trusting me and being transparent. I really appreciate that. Going deeper into this conversation, when you were in this and coming out, we talk about forgiveness for everyone else, but what did forgiveness look like for you once you realized, wow, I did this, I did that, this was my role? And we hear so many people say, well, what he did, but then take an account for your part in the story. Like, what did that forgiveness look like for yourself?
When you forgive yourself, when you like, you know what, you knew better. You seen what was going on, but you thought you could change the situation.
Mm,
God says, with that, with his loving kindness, I thought with my loving kindness, I was going to change. And I was just trying to be God in a place that I was totally out of line. So once I forgave myself for taking less than I deserved, for taking more than I should took, for not always speaking up for myself. I a lot of times I'll just be like, honey, I'm not even gonna argue with you. Baby, you had it. Go on. I'm not even gonna deal with that. When I should have really learned how to speak up. And that was another thing I learned in therapy. And one time my mama, she got mad at me. I'm laughing. I was at her house. Okay, I'm going outside though. One day I was at her house and my mama said she had cooked dinner and I came to fix a plate. And I was just gonna eat it. She was like, Brandy, warm your plate up. And I said, oh no, mama, it's good. She said, no, warm it up because that's gonna hurt my stomach if you eat that cold. And I said, well, mama, I don't want to warm up my bread. Or I was like, it's fine. I was like, I'm good. So we kept eating. So she waited a few minutes. She said, I know you're on this new thing expressing yourself, but you don't express yourself with me. I normally would have just warmed up the plate just to keep the peace. But I was like, that's not what I wanted to do that day. And
mm.
so I should have spoke up better than I did at times. So that was some of the things that I most definitely know has should have been handled different during that time.
That's good, and we're gonna go further into this, and when you said not speaking up, so we were talking before the show started,
Mhm,
and growing up as a little girl, I was introverted, I was very quiet, and I carried that as I got older and dating because I
mhm,
wanted to be liked and be a people pleaser
mhm,
you know, and like you said, taking on things I really didn't like because I didn't know my voice, I didn't know the strength of my voice, you know,
mhm.
my light died, and it was just like, why do, why didn't I not do that sooner? But
Mhm,
then going through therapy and learning my voice and finding my voice, when I started to speak up and say no, some people felt a way about it. Like, "What?
mhm.
Camille saying
Yeah.
no?" And I was like, "No, I don't wanna," and the first time I heard myself say no, it felt good.
Yes.
And
Oh,
and now I have no problem speaking up for myself.
girl.
And it's rubbed some feathers because people are like, "Oh, whoa, who is this?"
Yeah, yeah. Because they're used to you being a people pleaser.
Yeah,
And I've learned that no is a full sentence.
full sentence.
And it gives me peace and I get to do what I want to do
Yes,
without doing something that I'm really tired of doing, but I don't want to hurt your feelings. You know, somebody might invite me. I live in Gallatin. I live in an area called Gallatin.
right.
Somebody might invite me somewhere to come all the way in Murfreesboro. One day I might feel like doing it, but if this day I don't feel like doing it, I'll be like, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be able to make it. But a while ago, a few years back, I would have did it even if I didn't want to do it. So
Mhm.
it's so empowering to be able to be true to yourself. That's
Yes.
that's what it boils down to.
Yes, and the thing is like once you find your voice, I
Mhm.
did go through a phase where I would say I was a little upset with myself because I was like, "Man, why did not find my voice sooner?"
Mhm.
And I had to go through that phase and forgive myself too, realizing it came from other events in my life and
Yeah.
through therapy, realizing, well, this happened, that happened, that happened. But now just saying, okay, but we're going forward, we're healing from that.
Mhm.
There are lessons in all those things, those nuggets and jewels, but don't beat yourself up because you didn't find your voice sooner. Just be glad you know what you sound like now.
But you found it when you were supposed to.
Yeah.
One thing we have to understand, God factored all this in before we were even created. He
Yeah.
knew I was gonna be married, I was gonna be divorced, he knew I was gonna move back home with my parents, he knew everything, and then he knew, okay, then I'm gonna make you shine bright like a diamond. After all of that, you're gonna still be redeemed, you're gonna be on the radio impacting people to share your true testimony because I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. So he factors all of that in. That's how amazing he is. And he still loves us. He still uses us. He still blesses us. Now he whoop us when we get out of line. He
Won't
whoop
he? The
us.
conviction is real, okay.
Yes. He whoop us because he said, now I'm telling you not to do this, but go
Yes,
ahead and do it. I'm,
yeah,
I'm gonna have you afterwards, but go ahead and do it if you don't want to listen to me on the front end.
yeah.
So I didn't listen on the front end, but I sure do listen now. So you most definitely live and learn. But he's an amazing guy, and I just thank him for factoring out. I don't regret any of it. I have learned so much from it, and I thought I had boundaries,
Mm.
and I learned I didn't have boundaries like I
That's the
thought.
word. Yes,
Mhm. Yes,
boundaries, not
yes.
having those boundaries. Let's talk about that for a minute
Hmm.
because putting those boundaries in place, it's like, first of all, why did we not have these boundaries?
Hmm.
They're very important. They keep us safe because when you don't have boundaries, it's like letting somebody just come in and just walk all over, and it's like, no, you have to respect the space. We hear this phrase, protecting your peace, all
Hmm.
these phrases that, some people overuse it, but it's true. You do have to
It's
set
true.
these boundaries. And even God has boundaries for us, right?
Mhm.
But then we also have to take that and set boundaries in our life naturally, spiritually, physically, financially,
But
mentally,
yes.
emotionally.
Hmm.
So, Brandy, kind of go into what those boundaries began to look like for you.
Um, See, I thought what was crazy, I thought I had boundaries. I did. I thought, oh, I'm not taking this, I'm not taking that, I'm not taking that until somebody you say, I'm not taking that, and then they do it, then you find a reason to that, okay, it's okay, you done this time, but that ain't gonna happen again. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And then you say, okay, well, okay, don't do that no more. And then they do that, and then you don't stand, as they say, you don't stand 10 toes down.
You're not standing
And
on business.
you ain't stand, okay, stand on business. That's a new one. You ain't stand on business. So I thought I had boundaries. And the reason why I thought I had boundaries, one thing I learned, I have been so naive.
Mm.
I was very sheltered, meaning I come from a Christian family background. So I didn't know people done stuff how people do. Yeah.
I
So
understand when I went to college and I went to the Navy, culture shock. I was like, they doing what out here?
yeah. And you're
Wild.
like, you would on purpose hurt somebody that's trying
Yeah,
to do this and do this and do
yeah.
that. And you would hurt somebody that's loyal and you ain't got to worry about nothing. And they faithful and it's the utmost respect. So I didn't know I thought I was cool and here because I had lived outside a little part of my time coming up. I thought I was hood,
No, no.
educated. Lies I told myself. So I learned that, okay, being naive or not as acknowledgeable as you think to the a different world. I
Yeah.
didn't have boundaries. My boundaries were so low. They were so low, and I thought they were big. But once you get to seeing how people can operate, you learn like, wow. So now I have boundaries now. And
Yeah.
baby, when you do that something, sometimes the first time, oh, it's nothing. I
Yeah.
um I had a guy who had asked me out to dinner, and he was like, I'm gonna call you at say 7 o'clock or whatever, let you know where we're gonna go, where we're gonna meet at or whatever. Okay, cool. 6 o'clock came. He didn't tell me where we was going, but luckily I stayed in my bed. I didn't get up because I was like, baby, if you don't call me before, I'm not getting up. 7, 8, 9, didn't call. He calls the next day. Man, I'm so sorry. My boys came over. We started cooking out. I lost track of time. And I told him, I said, oh, no problem at all. And he was like, what's another day? I said, oh no, we're not going out. I said, you can't stand me up. And then think, you you told, what if I had gotten dressed and everything and you didn't pick up the phone and tell me what you said you were going to do? It was a time I would have been like, well, man, that was messed up, but okay, where we gonna go tomorrow? No, we hadn't talked since. It's no, if you're not gonna be a man of your word up front, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
It'd be different if it was an emergency, you had a heart attack, something like that. No, you said
Right.
your friends came over and y'all cooked out. So evidently y'all went and got some food and you didn't think to just have enough courtesy to say, hey, it's a change of plans. Let's do this. So me having boundaries now, I don't know. My mom say here and no further. Honey, you can go here and no further now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So how let's kind of talk about that for a second about women, and I'm speaking to the ladies on our ends, walking down those red flags to a green because you want the relationship. You see these red flags, but like you said, minimizing things and giving things a pass, and it's like, no, the flag is red. The flag is
Girl,
red.
honey, the flags be they I threw
Like
up my
football,
first
just
flag and I got another one. I threw that one. I got another. I threw that one, and I threw that one. Girl, I threw so many flags out the window.
the
I
flag is
know.
red, sis. It's red.
I don't know what color flags they were, but I threw them. And it was because I seen what we could do.
The
But
potential, yeah.
I I had my brother Greg on my show, and he said a quote. He said, how can God get the glory out of this? And I have to be honest, I didn't ask that. I didn't ask that. I said, okay, if we do this, we can build this house. And if we do this, we can get the transportation that we want. And if you do this, then we won't have any furniture bills. And if you do this, you can pay my truck down. We did all those materialistic things. All of that. God allowed all that. Credit five, credit score high, y'all got high credit score. Credit score high, all of that. But nothing came back to how's he getting the glory out of this? When we come together, how are we coming together to be a better service to the community, to different people? It was no unity. It was all transactional, honestly.
Let's talk about that because we hear,
Mhm,
power couples. It looks good for the gram. Y'all
mhm,
look good together
mhm.
for social media, and
Yeah.
have all of these things, but then
Mhm,
and a spiritual deficit, like you
mhm,
said, can have the car, have all those things, but can he pick you up in the spirit? Can he carry you
mhm.
spiritually? Can he discern you?
Can
Vice
he
versa.
pray?
I was just about to say, can he pray for you? And
Mm-mm.
character. And so in my younger
Mhm,
years, having this list, I wanted this, I wanted this, I wanted that. But it was like, what about the character? What about the integrity? What about where he is in God? And so, and I say this to women all the time, we have these lists of we want him to be this and that. And it's like, sis, throw that list away. You talking about, oh, I want a dream man. Are you the dream girl?
mhm,
Turn that list
mhm.
back on yourself. Be
Yeah.
the love you desire. Be what you
Mhm,
demand. It's not
mhm,
fair for you to demand something out of a man if you're not half of those things yourself. You're not even trying.
mhm,
Not saying
mhm,
you have to be
mhm.
perfect, but as
Yeah.
we as women, what are you doing? Are you,
Mhm.
you want this table? Or are you just pulling up with an appetite? And I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the stuff, but just
Mhm.
spiritually and in character, and
Yeah.
so to say that on the other end, you're doing everything, you're showing up, but it has
Mhm.
to be reciprocal. It's
Ooh.
partnership. It has to be
Yes.
a partnership, not just on the
Yes.
stuff, but on the spiritual end as well.
Yes. Yeah. And really, I've learned now, really on the spiritual and like you said, the character, your morals, your values, the things that don't cost is what's more important because that's going to portray who you are when we're not next to each other.
Yeah,
Your
I
bank
need you to be
account.
the representative even when you're not in the room.
Yes. Um, if you married at home, be married when you outside.
Say that again for the people in the back.
If you married at home, be married when you outside. Because if you're not doing that, you're not entertaining and doing things in front of me. Then when you're away, why is it? What is the difference? What is it? What is the shift? You
Yeah.
know, I don't play about that. I know we would pray and I would say, Lord, build a hedge around us, protect us, keep the wrong people out, keep the right people in, bless us with connecting us with, couples that are for your glory. We would pray that prayer. But if one person is really sincerely seeking and doing that, and then the other one, is just doing something totally opposite and you don't know it, then you fighting a battle that you don't even have access to because
Yeah.
you think in one way because they're home. Hey, it's me and you against the world sometimes. Um, but then you learning a whole nother world is going on outside of home.
So you speaking on that, Brandy,
Hmm.
let's get into our final point as far as the importance of community being single,
Hmm.
coming out of divorce, and even when you're married.
Hmm.
Can you
Your
unpack that for us?
community. Oh, so this is what I would say that happened during the thing. We had well, I've always had a strong community with my family.
Yes.
I mean, that they without them, I would not be the woman I am today. I had to introduce my dad in Ohio at an event, and I told the Lord, I said, if I died and you say you could come back and have a billionaire father, a billionaire family, I still want everybody that I have in my family today. I love my family. Um, the community. One thing I would say that happens, when you meet couples and you do all these couple things together, when a couple divorce, oh, it changed.
Because it
It
breaks up friend circles, friend groups, you lose
yes.
friends, and so it's like, well, I can't talk to them because I don't want them sharing information, and it becomes very sticky, very
It
sticky.
and it becomes very hurtful.
Mm,
It can become very lonely for a moment.
okay.
Because you're thinking like, hey, I'm calling and share this with you, and then you find out they still married. So of course you're gonna pillow talk. So you tell your husband, then your husband come back and tell this person, and this person texting you talking crazy. So you have to make sure you have a community that can handle the separation, um, the disappointment, and be able to keep you covered and not go back and do that. So community is everything when you go through something like that. But most importantly, I went back home to my parents' house for like 9 months. While I was at my parents' house, I built me a townhome from ground. And waking up one day, I did a post, waking up every morning, my parents both on their knees. When I came down the
I
stairs, my
remember
mom,
that post, yes.
yeah, my mom would be praying in the bedroom and my daddy prayed in the living room, and they strengthened me. Oh my God. I mean, it was just being loved how you supposed to be loved and adored and admired and respected. And when you come out of a situation, if you're in a situation and you're not, and you're not getting into any of those things, when you do come out, because I pray you do come out, make sure you surround yourself with people that can pour into you. It's not always financial, sometimes just being there.
Yeah.
So your community is very, very important.
And do you think also, like, maybe seeing your parents pray, it also encouraged and strengthened your prayer life as well?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And even Mackenzie did a thing for me Mother's Day. It was 50 things, honey. I got to boo-hooing. But she was just like, Mom, I value your dedication to God. And she loves when I pray for her, and stuff like that is priceless when you are a parent, because yeah, you can give them tangible things, but when I'm gone, none of that stuff will matter. I want both of my kids to be able to pray and to know that God got them and that they're going to be okay, and not a Louis bag or a Gucci bag, but some substance, things that's going to hold them over to the Lord comes or till they have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you've shared so much, and I definitely want to bring you back to continue this conversation. But before we wrap things up, I do want to ask you, do you have any like takeaways or nuggets for the listeners and viewers until you come back to the next time? And then also where people can contact you on social media.
Yeah, because I was about to say, girl, we didn't get on the good side.
Yeah.
The moral of the story is if you do go through this, just know you have not seen your best days yet. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard the things God have in store for you. After getting out that situation, now, like I said, I'm on the radio. I have peace. That is the most important thing. Peace is priceless. I fall asleep. I don't hear my daughter come in and out, and I ain't taking nothing to go to sleep. I have peace. I'm happy. I'm in a good space. I'm dreaming again and reaching for goals again, things that I just got stagnant in that bad situation. So I just say make sure that don't give up. Don't let the devil tell you that this is the worst. This is life is not going to get better. He is a liar. He is a deceiver. Just know that better days are coming. Make sure you leave safely. If you're in a dangerous situation, make sure you plan. Get your duck. My mom always say, get your ducks in a row. Get your coins together. So when you do go, you ain't got to look back. But just know that God loves you. He's not surprised by any of your decisions. He still sees value in you, and he loves you, and he loves me too. You can watch me every Saturday on 7:90 a.m.
I love the energy. I'm like, who is this girl?
104.9.
But you
What?
always been like a happy person. So
Yeah, they can. You can listen to me live stream on the Gospel Nashville this Saturday. I actually got Bishop Pulliam coming to be
okay.
on the show. But yeah, it's every Saturday at 8 a.m. Central Time, and once again, it's 7:90 a.m. 104.9 FM. You can follow me on all social media outlets at the real Brandi J. That Brandi is with an I. Follow me, and I will follow you back. And most importantly, y'all keep supporting Camille. Y'all support her and just love on her because she's an amazing young lady. I always tell people she's my little cousin. And I'm just so proud of you that everything that you haven't given up and just all the amazing things that you got going on. And I'm honored that you asked me to come back.
Thank you. And I'm gonna ask you again.
And I'm gonna say
And
yeah.
again.
And
First
I'm
of
gonna say
all,
because we gonna talk
I
about the other side.
first of all, y'all, I know we've had this conversation with Brandi, but the Bob has been main character the whole
Bob.
episode. The
It's
Bob
Bob.
is main character, okay.
That's glitz and glams. I
I
mean, oh my
love
God, my friend came through with me at the last minute. She came through. So yeah, it's something I've never had before. So yes, Alicia, come on with the bob. It's
it's
bobbing. Yeah,
bobbing.
it's bobbing. It's bobbing.
Oh my God. Stiff wear.
Yes, honey, it's
I love it.
bobbing,
It's
honey.
very luxurious and it's so cute on you and it fits your face. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So everybody, thank you again, Brandi. Hold on, sit tight. Everybody, thank you for joining me tonight. Tune in tomorrow night. My guest is a, a dear sister. I'm getting to know her more and more there in Atlanta at Spirit and Truth. We're gonna have a really good conversation. It's kind of like the singles edition. We're gonna continue this,
Okay.
kind of like part two, piggybacking off of this
Yes, honey. Come on, single
conversation.
people. Come on,
Yes.
single.
Like myself, I've never been married, so I'm always asking questions. you know, I feel like that's the best way to learn is to glean from other people. So I always ask questions, and I love perspective. And thank you again. I said this before, Brandi, but I wanted to say this again for the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for trusting me with your journey and your story. I
Mhm.
appreciate your transparency. I love your resilience and your strength and your shine. And for
Thank
you
you.
to continue to go and grow
Mhm.
and just continue to touch the community because you are a light. I've never seen you in a space where there was somebody when you left, you didn't know them. You talk to
Mhm.
everybody, you speak to everybody. That's a gift. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't have that. And just tell you this to continue to embrace that. If it's a book, if there's a book in you, girl, it's time to write it. I think people need to hear more about you and your journey. And then you
Girl,
You
no,
have
because that's crazy. Because I started. I can't tell y'all my title because somebody will take it. But
oh,
I'm looking for a ghostwriter now. I really am. I started. I sent it to my godmother. I started. She was like, "You got a good introduction," but I'm like,
yeah.
I need somebody to type this for me because that ain't my strength.
Yeah. So go ahead and get it done because the longer you wait, the longer you're upholding someone's healing. So I
Hmm.
really feel like you should really dig into that, even if it's through the summer. I just really feel
Hmm.
led to tell you that and to continue to write and get that publication out because, what we go through, it's a lifeline and a lifesaver for someone else. So be sure to be diligent with that and get that out. And I think once you do, you'll start to hear other stories and journeys like, oh my God, I thought I was by myself. It was just me. Or your story gave me the strength to leave a situation. You don't know. And I say that because a couple seasons ago, I did an episode on mental health. And
Hmm.
that particular episode, not a lot of people watched on the live. I was very discouraged. Like, man, am I doing the right thing?
Hmm.
Maybe I shouldn't do the podcasting anymore. And the mental health professional that I had on, she reached out to me the next day because I was gonna delete the episode and just get rid of it. And we were talking about having an emergency mental health plan. And she said, somebody was watching and they saw it and they had planned to end their life that night. They
Wow.
had happened to see our interview and
Hmm.
it prompted them to get help. And it was at that
Wow.
moment I realized it's not about the likes and the followers, it's about being obedient, because what if I had
Hmm.
deleted that episode? That person would not have
Hmm.
seen it. They probably
Yeah.
wouldn't be here, and so I
Hmm.
said that to say, do it, because you're
Yeah.
literally your somebody's life is depending on your obedience.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so do it.
Yeah, and I keep saying my show. My show is actually called Single Again Chronicles. So to my
Mm,
single again people, that's who I be trying to encourage
yeah,
because divorce can be so disappointing. It can be embarrassing. It can be hurtful because the idea that you had in mind, the vision that you saw that, oh, I'm going to grow old with this person and we're going to do this. And when it doesn't happen, I tell people, because people always say, "Oh, women be bitter." I said, "No, I think it's a difference from bitter and disappointed." I was
yeah,
disappointed. I'm not bitter about it, but I was very disappointed because I thought,
yeah,
"Oh, we got our forever home and we got this and we're going on
yeah,
vacation and we're doing this." And it's okay to be disappointed,
yeah.
but it's okay to leave if you know you don't need to be in that situation also.
That's good. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing, Brandy. I really appreciate it. I hope someone got something from this conversation now or later. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you all tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with my guest, LaRonda Yavell. We're going to have a really good conversation. So be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe. And be sure to follow us. We're on Facebook at Speaker Podcast. On YouTube, my website is upcamilleesque.com. That way you can subscribe and stay in the loop what's going on. And I would love to hear from you. Send me an email at thespeakerpodcast@gmail.com. With that being said, this is Camille Essick. Thank you again, Brandy. I'm host of the Speaker Podcast, the podcast where innovators and critics connect. Be blessed, y'all. Peace.